Well, hey, everybody. My name is William Lawson. It always drives me a little bit crazy when I hear people have these discussions, and it's like two things can't be true at the same time. It's a zero sum BS that if this is true, that must be false. When the fact of the matter is that if this is true, this over here can very well be true as well. Don't you find that a lot of the time, a lot of political debate are zero sum? If I believe this and this is true, then what you believe has got to be false. Foolishness, childishness. It's what the elite want us to do. They want us to chase each other and or chase our tail around everything. That way they can continue to do whatever the heck they want. That's what we do. Let's look at Ukraine and Russia. Now, is it possible that Russia is an existential threat to the United States? Yes. Why? Because it is. Because it is. Vladimir Putin is not a good guy. Vladimir Putin is KGB. Vladimir Putin misses the Soviet Union. He wants to have the Soviet Union again. He wants to be in charge of it. Vladimir Putin is a bad guy. He doesn't really give a rat's patoot about his people starving. But he'll just keep pushing that front through Ukraine until they get every inch, no matter who dies. He doesn't care. He's not a good guy. Zelensky has been, by the press, held up as this, I don't know, this hero. And it comes from the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Well, I got news for you. Zelensky's not our friend. He is not our friend. Ukraine has had a corrupt government that the United States has shored up, instituted regime change there. So there are no good guys here either. There are no good guys. All three things are true. The U.S. not clean in this. Ukraine not clean in this. The Soviet Union not clean. No clean hands here. Everybody is, as a nation state, are dirty. The only victims are the people who get sent to the front to die, and the people whose fortunes are stolen to facilitate this endlessly. Those are the people who are damaged. The people who lose sons, husbands, wives, daughters in these conflicts, in these wars, those are the victims. So you say, Willie, what are we going to do? Well, somebody I was talking to a student and he's like a senior, he's also a sophomore in high school. And he said, a lot of times we're just picking, the lesser of two evils. And he's only a sophomore in high school and he's already got that mentality. He's heard that from his parents probably and the people that he listens to. And I said, no, we're not. We have to pick the right thing, whatever that is. We have to pick the right thing. What do we want? It's interesting that those who are advocating for peace are somehow now seen as weak, especially by the left. That's crazy. That people who are advocating for peace think, hey, too many young men are dying. Too many young people are dying on both sides. Young Russian men and young Ukrainian men are dying. Too many civilians are getting caught in the crossfire. So if you advocate for peace, then somehow you are weak. Somehow we are selling the Ukraine government out. We're selling them out. and Trump's treatment of Zelensky in the White House, no matter how he came and behaved, is irrelevant because he's our ally. Because we're back to what? The enemy of our enemy is our friend. Here's the hard lesson, and especially in this case, not all the time. In order, and I mentioned this on other shows, on other programs, other podcasts. In order for us to survive as a nation, we must get our financial house in order. In order for you to survive as a family, to survive as a business, you've got to get your financial house in order. You can't continue to just open a vein every single time. And especially if you don't get anything in return. It isn't like we're asking, I'm serious, it isn't like we're asking the Ukraine to, to write us a check. I think the deal with the minerals is this: hey, we're going to set this up for you, and it's going to work for you because it's going to employ your folks, right? And you'll be able to benefit from it too. But we want some too. The United States taxpayer wants some of their money back because we need it. We need it. Like if you borrow money from a friend, and then they ask you to come over and help them wash their house, pressure wash their house. Now you know damn well you owe them $500. You know what you do as a friend? You go over there and you help them pressure wash their house. Even if they don't take it off your bill, you still owe them that money. But if they ask us, hey man, I need your help this weekend, could you come over and help me pressure wash my house? Yeah, you rearrange your schedule and you do what you have to do. Why? Because you owe a debt. Zelensky, if he was as good a person as the left tries to portray, or even people like John Bolton would try to portray, would go, the United States has been very good to us. Sure. Let's enter in some sort of agreement that we can help the United States. Why is that such a problem? Because the fact of the matter is that the United States has been very, 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 very good to Ukraine in all of this. As a matter of fact, here's some of the data, because the data is important. The numbers are important. Since go back and get the dates here. Since I'm sorry. For the past 2 years, so go for the past 2 years. Ukraine has raised about $336.5 billion, split between military aid, straight financial aid, and humanitarian aid. A third of $1 trillion. Here are, and y'all can write these down so you can research them later. Now, I got these numbers, and they're all sorts of in a range. For instance, Lithuania, somewhere between 0.8 and $1 billion. Most of that is humanitarian aid. So let's just go through a short list, and we're going to take the high side of the estimate at this point. Lithuania, $1 billion. Latvia, $1 billion. Now, for these small countries, Lithuania and Latvia, that's a lot of money. Estonia, $1.5 billion. Now, most of this for these countries is probably humanitarian aid. Australia, $1 billion. Denmark, $2.2 billion. Sweden, go Swedes, $2.7 billion. The Netherlands, 3.3 billion. France, 4.3 billion. Norway, 4 billion. Poland, 5 billion. Our neighbors to the north, Canada, 4.5 billion. Japan, and this is mostly humanitarian, I saw this, 8 billion. United Kingdom, and the United Kingdom is Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and England, 11 billion. Various European Union institutions, $85 billion. It's a chunk of change. The United States, the United States of America, taxpayer dollars, 175 plus billion dollars. 175 plus billion dollars. So to start spreading this narrative somehow that we are welching on our responsibility to an ally, it's BS. Straight BS. Right out of the horse's butt, round the ground, just laying there, right out of the bull's butt, laying there on the ground, steaming with flies. BS. Over $175 billion thus far. Which I think if you do the arithmetic, it's about 52% of the total. So it seems to me that it is perfectly reasonable after, after forking over $175 billion for who's ever in charge of the United States to go, hey, man, we got to do something different. I got an idea. What if we do this? And we negotiate peace. So all these other countries and these European Union institutions can start what they can start doing is start not talk about so much about military aid, but start talking about humanitarian aid to help rebuild cities and schools and libraries and hospitals and the infrastructure in Ukraine that has been destroyed through war. That would seem to be a good idea, and it would really benefit. Excuse me, this chair's not really working for me right now. Would benefit people in the European theater a lot more than us. But then they could sort of make that transition to that. If we can get some peace, and you know what, we'll go to the table with you. We'll stand in the gap for you with Russia. Trump was willing to stand in the gap. And if you stand in the gap, what that means is that the person you're standing in the gap for does not have the wherewithal or the resources to negotiate to stop what's coming. So you stand there instead. You put yourself between what you're trying to save and the thing that's trying to destroy it. What you don't do is get behind the thing you're trying to save and you sort of just egg them on and, yeah, you can do it until they're destroyed and go, oh, we tried. Trump is actually trying to stand in the gap. Now, if you want to consider that, capitulation, I'm not sure how you're seeing that. You're doing some incredible mental gymnastics when you know that Ukraine doesn't have the wherewithal right now to have any standing with Russia. Russia's got to pay attention to us. They have to, even if they don't want to. They have to. He doesn't, because Putin doesn't want to. Putin is not friends with Trump. He's not friends with the American people. He's not. He's a dangerous individual. Very dangerous. So we are standing in the gap to get them to stop. Because it's the only way to save Ukraine. It's the only way to save Ukraine. Now, I have put out a number of videos this weekend on here on YouTube and on TikTok, and I've got some people here on that have been following me on Facebook for a long time, and boy, oh boy, we do not agree on this, not at all, and that's fine, and that's fine. But the numbers here of our contributions thus far say this: we have, as a people, given a lot. So it's not unreasonable to say, hey, listen, let's see if we can end this. Let's see if we can end this. And just because I am advocating for peace doesn't mean that I'm saying that Vladimir Putin's a good guy and the Ukrainians are bad people. No, no. If you know anything about Vladimir Putin and Zelensky, they're all bad people. And all the United States has done in this whole thing since 1990 is lie. Lie about the expansion of NATO. Just flat out tell lies, which has exacerbated the situation. There isn't any way to deny that. There's no way to deny it. And it didn't matter what flavor of administration, both Republicans and Democrats, just lied through their butts. And now this is what we've come to. Now, this dude has decided to stand in the gap to effectively protect Ukraine, while their president is acting like Yosemite Sam, hopping up and down. No, no, we can fight, we can win. No, no, you cannot. We know that. You know that. Russia knows that. And frankly, so does all of Europe. Which is why they're asking, that's why they want the United States and Donald Trump just to keep signing the checks. And when the Ukraine, if Kamala Harris was president, things would go as usual, and eventually the Ukraine would fall. Eventually, Ukraine would fall. Then what? Then you're really talking about World War III, aren't you? Aren't you? And the only people happy about that, the industrial military complex that Eisenhower warned us about in the 50s. Right? The people happy about that are the people who make the guns and the bullets. The rest of us are the victims, the people who will be sent to die, and the people who have their fortunes stolen who get to pay for it. Peace for a lot of people is not profitable. It is so horrible. But this is where this is the deal. Peace is not profitable, which is why so many of these people are fighting against it. It doesn't have anything to do with saving a democracy, because Ukraine has not shown themselves to be a thriving democracy under Zelensky. Shut down the press, did something really Democrat, hasn't allowed for elections, want to keep the war going so he doesn't have to get voted out of office, right? I am advocating for peace. I'm advocating for young Ukrainian men to stop dying, young Russian men to stop dying. I'm going to advocate for peace, even though I know, like I just said, peace is not profitable. And whatever we need to do to force Zelensky either to resign or make the right overtures and come back and say, you know what, I want peace too. We need peace. My people want peace. A verifiable peace in this region. And when he's ready to do that, hopefully it'll be sooner than later. Hopefully he won't keep getting encouraged by the rest of these people, the U.S. press and some of the international press and the people who make money, who enjoy the profits of war, that he won't continue to be encouraged by those people and say, let's come to the table. Let's hash this out. Let's make it happen. I pray that happens. Don't you? Don't you want peace? Don't you want the quiet world that we had in 2016, 17, and 18? Don't you want that again? I do. I do. It's funny that that the left was screaming for Israel just to stop the war unilaterally, just stop. And they're not asking the same thing. When Zelensky wants to keep going, no one's advocating for peace in this particular instance. They're advocating in the Hamas Israeli thing for capitulation from Israel. Give up the land you stole. But wait, so why don't you have some of that energy with Ukraine? Hey, just stop the killing. Do what you have to do to stop the killing. Can you continue to give in to a bully like Putin? No. So will it come to a head at some point? Probably. But doesn't have to be tomorrow. You don't have to die tomorrow. My name is Willie Lawson. Welcome to the Morning Report. Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn to love somebody. And for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.
Welcome to the Morning Report, a production of fightbackmedia.com, the #1 source of urban conservative information in America.